The fitness app logged cardio at 1:12 a.m. He does run. Hook. The fitness app congratulated my husband at 1:12 a.m. with fireworks and the word cardio like a confession made festive. His watch buzzed on our nightstand and lit the ceiling with a little blue lie. The log said 23 minutes in a heart rate zone he usually only achieves on hills he avoids. Beneath it was the map of a building I didn't recognize, a neat gray outline like a blueprint for something untrue. My name is Carter. I'm 35. I write copy that persuades patients to dress up as convenience. My husband, Elias, designs lobbies where strangers arrive and decide to become versions of themselves they can live with for one evening. We've been married 4 years, which is long enough to be devout about decency. Coffee where a hand will find it. The good glasses used even for water because ceremony should pull its weight. A kiss at the doorframe calibrated to keep trains on time. And casual about heat, which we schedule like a quarterly project you can push if donors call. He came in at 1:47 a.m., quiet as a courtesy. He smelled like rosemary, polished concrete, and laughter that had been very careful about who it loved. He slid into bed and spooned me with body confidence and moral reluctance. His pulse told on him through my shoulder blade. "Congratulations on your cardio," I said into the pillow. It was petty and accurate, which is my favorite tone when I'm deciding if I'm ready to be kind. He did the wreckage I trust him for, no rehearsal, no PR. He exhaled like a man opening a door all the way. "The elevator broke," he said, which is exactly the kind of sentence men use when the truth needs stairs. In the morning, the app offered to share a weekly summary. I declined. I took screenshots instead, because evidence keeps its manners when you treat it with respect. When he sat at the counter with the good mug we only pretend is delicate, I put my phone next to his and let the fireworks show themselves off. "Where?" I asked, a geography question and a theology one. "Rook," he said. "The new tower on Fenwick, after the walk through. I meant to come home." I meant, he stopped, which is the nicest thing he does to the English language when he's about to lie. "You kissed him," I said. "Questions are for people trying to be polite to fiction." "Twice," he said, refusing to rehearse this part either. "Once because I wanted to be chosen without auditioning. Once because I wanted to hurt us hard enough to move. Both times I thought of you. Both times I kept going." "What's his name?" "Micah," he said, and the syllables did that quiet work of making a stranger heavier than air. The map on the app showed a neat loop around a rooftop track that had no business being romantic. I put my palm where it belongs, between Elia's shoulder blades, pressed into the square that convinces lungs to remember their job. We kept it clean enough for the daylight and explicit enough that the window learned our names again. His breath went from apology to grammar. "Do you want me to leave?" he asked, and he meant the apartment, the morning, the sentence. "I want you to take me to the roof," I said. "If the truth likes the view, we'll see if we do too." Rook had a lobby like a well-groomed apology, citrus in the air, brass pretending not to be proud of itself. The concierge smiled with thresholds for miles. Elias nodded to a security guard who respected wrists and key fobs more than plot points. We rode the elevator to 36 like the city was our problem and not our home. The rooftop track was a stylish oval around a set of lounging chairs that wanted to be metaphors. The sky practiced being persuasive. A man stood by the glass railing with his sleeves rolled to the degree that statutes ought to consider, white shirt clean in a way that admits rehearsal, hair misbehaving just enough to audition for innocence. He saw us and didn't perform surprise. I liked him 1% for that. "Micah," he said to me, not offering a hand and saving me from the labor of choosing politeness over accuracy. "Carter," I said, watching his mouth place my name on its tongue and decide not to taste it. "Do you want me to leave?" he asked, which is still the sexiest sentence a stranger can say when he means it. "Yes," I said, because speed is the only mercy strangers deserve when furniture is warming up to testify. "Thank you," I added, because my mother is a religion I refuse to renounce even on rooftops designed to flatter sin. He nodded, brushed past with heat polite enough to be weather, and touched Elia's knuckles with 2 fingers, punctuation, not claim. The elevator swallowed him whole like a sentence you're glad didn't become a paragraph. We didn't sit. We walked the track once in silence, 2 men doing a loop around a fact. The city below did its affidavit, sirens practicing remorse, cranes gesturing toward a future with hand-waving, buses making schedules into stories. On the second lap, Elias put his hand on my wrist like a man trying to keep a kite honorable in a wind he asked for. "I don't want to audition for your forgiveness," he said. "I want to be chosen and then worth it." "Then stop training for endurance in places that invoice," I said. "If you need cardio, run toward me." He laughed, sharp and honest, and my sternum clocked back in for its shift. We took the elevator down like grown men and didn't kiss in a mirror. At home, I did the thing that makes rooms earn their rent. I taped a square of blue painter's tape to the kitchen window and wrote 807 above it with the pencil that lives by the calendar. 4 minutes of breath with his palm where breath listens. 3 minutes of inventory, 3 facts, 2 fears, 1 want. No prosecution. Water in the good glasses at 8:20 because small noises prevent large ones. We've invented and abandoned this ritual before. The trick is returning like adults, not pilgrims. "Tonight," I said, "and tomorrow's tomorrow. If you miss 8:07, you make another 8:07 and you knock on this square with your hand." He nodded like a man who wanted the instructions in writing because he intended to do them. At 3:15, my phone buzzed a push alert no app takes credit for. Listen to 11 seconds of water. I sent present/bus stop because present is sexier than sorry when it's honest. He replied present/lighting grid, which is lobby maker for I'm up where the weight is, making sure nothing falls on you while you walk under it. At 5:58, the doorbell made its unbrave sound. Through the peephole, white shirt, sleeves still criminal. Micah held up a small drawstring bag like a man returning stolen evidence in an indie film. I opened the door because peephole ethics is smug. "He left his watch band," Micah said. "The sweat helped it escape. He kept his eyes on my eyes the way you do when you've decided to do decency without flirting. I'm out of your story." "Do you want me to leave?" he added, doubling down on the only charm I trust. "Yes," I said. "Thank you," I added and meant it. He went down the stairs like someone who knows what doors are for. I closed ours and put the band on the entry table beside the bowl that collects coins we no longer carry and vows we still do. At 8:07, the square did its job. Elias set his palm at the back of the heart and my body obeyed like a good employee with a bad boss. The city performed outside. We failed to narrate it. At 8:12, inventory. His facts were actual facts. He'd texted the concierge to remove his after-hours access. He'd unfollowed a hashtag that traffics in flattery. He'd blocked Thursday nights with a recurring calendar event named MAKE Fire AT Home in all caps because drama is useful when it's on a schedule. His fears were untheatrical, that he loved applause like oxygen and would keep confusing the two, that my dignity would price me out of my own life. His want was my name with the grammar of a verb. Be with me at 8:07 like a practice, not a miracle. We drank water like it was a sacrament for people who don't pretend to be holy. The erotic part wasn't the rooftop track or the white shirt rolled one button too far. It was instruction obeyed with tenderness. It was my mouth finding the place under his jaw where my name lives rent-controlled. It was the way he said my name at the window, blue like rent paid on time. It wasn't tidy. Twice that week he was late, and the old monologue in my throat powdered its nose and asked to be famous. I made it sit by the sink and listen to the refrigerator sermon on patience. Once, on Fenwick, I saw Micah laughing with a man whose earrings looked like punctuation. He lifted two fingers, whether not invitation, and I answered the same way because spite is expensive and I intend to retire loved. We fought well, quiet like citizens with neighbors, honest like men who intend to stay. I asked why strangers' attention still dresses as oxygen inside his chest. He asked why I polish our dignity until it slips off the table. I said I'm tired of writing copy for us that reads like compliance. He said he forgot he could ask me for noise. We traded short, heavy sentences that did their jobs and didn't ask for checking. The fitness app emailed a monthly brag. Your heart loves movement. I typed a reply I wouldn't send. So does my marriage. We're moving our workouts to the kitchen. I read it to him at 8:20 while the good glasses clicked their little hymn, and he kissed the hinge of my smile like feedback should be taken physically. We added customs at the border of home. When one of us opens the door, he says, I'm in, because present is sexier than sorry when it's honest. The hallway light is on a sensor now. It wakes when we cross the air we pay for. If one of us must be late, he texts present place. The lock clicks like a paid witness. We tip it with mercy so it keeps telling the truth. One Tuesday, I met him at one of his lobbies after hours. He tuned a resting wall until it decided to glow without begging. Walk with me, he said, which in our language means I want to be seen doing my competence without applause. We climbed to the mezzanine and looked down at a sofa that had terrified a donor into generosity. He put my hand on a dimmer and told me to turn back, until the couch stopped performing and started being useful. Clean. Explicit enough to teach Wood our names. The security camera bowed and retired. Micah texted exactly once more, a line with a period doing admirable labor, he's worth staying for. Make it expensive to quit. I replied, we're charging time. He sent a thumbs up that did not try to be poetry. Relapses found us like weather. A late message from a number saved as a company and not a person. A morning when I answered his inventory with a joke, because jokes are how I dodge the bill. Each time the square caught us. Some nights we were monks of breath and obedience. Some nights the room blurred and the window forgave us for remembering what bodies are for. We kept it decent enough for neighbors and explicit enough for furniture to feel used in a flattering way. People ask, in bathroom lines and elevator pauses and under misbehaving streetlights, who the villain was. They want me to say a man with forgiving wrists, or a rooftop with forgiving views, or a husband who outsourced urgency to fireworks on a watch. The truth humiliates us evenly, which is why it helps. The villain was the version of us that treated heat like an errand and romance like a feature. The miracle is repetitive and small. Knock on our own door. Say where we are, put a palm where breath listens, count to 60, try again. The erotic part wasn't 23 minutes in zone 4 or a map making adultery look like a jog. It was water in the good glasses clicking like an alphabet we finally decided to learn. It was my name in his mouth at the window's blue. It was his palm on my back in public, quick. Nothing for cameras. Everything for the animal in me who wants to be found rather than guessed. 2 weeks later, the app offered a new goal. Daily streak 8:07 mindful minutes. It had been listening with more decency than I expected. Elias set it up on both our watches, and the first time it buzzed, he laughed with his eyes closed, which is where hope lives in this house. The watch awarded us fireworks no one else would see, and for once the celebration belonged to us. Last night at 8:07 he set his palm to its post, and I obeyed the way breath obeys when it's proud to be employed. The city tried to narrate. We let it fail. At 8:12 we inventoried. At 8:20 we drank our small sacrament. We failed a little at decency, and the window forgave us by being glass. Tonight at 7:58 I'll set my phone face down like manners are still a technology worth installing. At 8:07 his palm will find the back of the heart, and the tape will remember why it was hired. If we miss, we'll do the only miracle repetition ever made plausible. Try again. 8:17, 10, 10, 11, 11, whenever mercy clocks in. Somewhere a watch is bursting into fireworks for the wrong story. Our door knows our knock. It keeps opening when we ask it to.